These stocks are quietly making people rich in Nigeria right now. Pharmaceutical stocks on the NGX are exploding in 2026. But here's the scary part. Most investors have no idea why. And one pharma stock could still be sitting on a massive hidden opportunity. This isn't hype. It's data, policy, money flow, and a shift nobody is talking about. Stay till the end because the biggest reveal changes everything. Before anyone was talking about it, a handful of pharmaceutical stocks on the NGX quietly started moving. The charts were whispering a story that most analysts completely missed. Small upward trends, low volume accumulation, then came the spike. Trading volume surged out of nowhere. Retail investors weren't only responsible for this. Smart institutions, funds with billions were quietly buying. Anyone who noticed this early could have positioned ahead. Institutional activity often leaves subtle fingerprints. And this time, the fingerprints were clear. The well-structured accumulation patterns without the market noise were repeating. Smart money quietly took position. If you'd known what to look for, you could have spotted this early, and that's exactly what we'll show you. Analysts had underpriced growth, completely missing the speed at which these companies in the pharmaceutical sector were expanding. The market started repricing the sector, but surprisingly, earnings weren't the real catalyst driving this surge. Hidden in government documents, a subtle but quiet policy change was announced, an incentive for local drug manufacturers. These policy changes are the National Electronic Pharmacy Policy (NEP) December 2025, which regulates online pharmacy services, digitized drug sales, and enhances access to quality medicines. The presidential initiative for unlocking the healthcare value chain, which supports local production goals aiming for 70% capacity by 2030. National Health Compact January 2026, which commits to training professionals, create centers of excellence, offer tax incentives for local production, and strengthen regulation. But do you know the unbelievable thing? Most investors overlook these key policy changes, which would completely shift revenue projections. And all of a sudden, the pharmaceutical sector had an invisible tailwind which propelled it towards growth. Nigeria reducing reliance on imported drugs, local firms in the pharmaceutical sector are positioned to have a massive advantage. This is not short-term hype, it's structural change. But demand was about to surprise even the smartest investors. Population growth, rising healthcare needs, and limited access to drugs created a demand curve that's anything but linear. It's exponential. Pharmaceutical stocks suddenly became a necessity play, not a gamble. Yet most investors still underestimated this reality. Foreign portfolio inflows started trickling in and then surged. Major foreign funds were loading up on Nigerian pharma stocks. Validation from global investors was a signal that the sector's story was real. But they weren't buying randomly. Looking closer, we see a short list of outperforming stocks like Micure, Fitson, May & Baker, and Naimet. They all share the same hidden metric: profitability combined with production scale. But one stock seems out of place. Or does it? The answer sets up the next surprise. There is a low-priced pharmaceutical stock that nobody is talking about because it is being punished by the market for bad performance. This presents potentially the biggest opportunity for investors to jump in. That stock is Naimet. With the resuscitation of the pharmaceutical sector, Naimet is primed for a breath of fresh air. Is this a bubble waiting to burst? Comparing this to past NGX sector rallies, it's different. This isn't a fleeting hype cycle. It's backed by fundamentals, policy, and demand. But most investors ignore the numbers that matter most. And that's where this gets even more interesting. Company directors and insiders started buying their company stocks and not selling. That's a confidence signal investors clearly missed. When people on the inside put their money where their mouth is, it's a red flag for lagging investors and a green flag for smart investors who know how to read the signs and decode any hidden market trends. Production factories are expanding, new distribution deals signed. These moves aren't in the headlines. Revenue growth isn't even reflected yet in the prices of stocks in the pharmaceutical sector. For the investors watching closely, this is a silent signal that the sector is about to be repriced. Market share analysis shows one firm quietly dominating distribution. That firm is Fitson Healthcare. Fitson Healthcare stock isn't just growing, it's redefining the sector hierarchy. But the macro environment adds more fuel to the fire. Here's the twist. Inflation, which normally eats profits, actually helps the pharmaceutical sector. Pricing power protects margins. Suddenly, pharmaceutical companies are both defensive and growth-oriented, a rare combination that smart investors love. Interest rates also played a vital role in this growth.
The central bank stabilized rates and capital moved into other sectors.
The pharmaceutical sector, with its structural advantages, became a magnet for smart money. Here is the biggest surprise. Compare current PE ratios to historical averages. You will find out that pharmaceutical stocks are still undervalued despite the rally. Upside potential remains intact.
What's happening isn't a short-term rally. Smart investors weren't chasing just a price hike. They were reading patterns, policy, and structural shifts. This is a generational opportunity. Nigeria is well positioned to become West Africa's pharmaceutical hub.
Manufacturing capacity, export potential, and regional dominance align perfectly.
NGX pharmaceutical companies aren't just playing locally, they're preparing to dominate the continent. The scale of this opportunity is massive. So as a smart investor, what should you do to take advantage?
This is my advice. Don't chase a flying stock. Study signals, earnings trends, policy shifts,
Institutional accumulation and technical patterns. Based on that, pick any of the 4 NGX Pharma stocks that aligns to your investment goal. This isn't just a stock story, it's a blueprint for spotting the next mega rally before the crowd notices.
If you want to stay ahead of moves like this on the NGX, hit subscribe, turn on notifications.
And don't miss the next big sector shift. I am the investment general. See you on the next one.